Under the radiant sky of Rajagriha, Buddha gathered his disciples in a grove adorned with serene tranquility. Sal trees stretched gracefully, their leaves murmuring gentle hymns to the breeze. Disciples settled on the ground, their eyes fixed upon Buddha's radiant form. Buddha began with a smile, his voice soft and unwavering. True communication transcends the spoken word. Ananda, eager and inquisitive, asked, "Master, how can silence be as powerful as speech?" Buddha gazed at Ananda, his expression serene. Silence reflects the essence of truth more vividly than words could ever attempt. The disciples pondered deeply, their minds dancing with questions and possibilities. Buddha continued, "Imagine a calm lake. It mirrors the heavens above, revealing the truth in stillness." Ananda nodded, yet curiosity lingered in his heart, propelling his mind towards further inquiry. Buddha's hand rose gently, guiding their thoughts. Observe not with judgment, but with the openness of a lake reflecting the sky. Time stretched silently as disciples absorbed the wisdom embedded in each word. Buddha's teachings unfolded like lotus petals, revealing the essence hidden within their layers. Disciples practiced observing each other, speaking less and listening to the silence that enveloped them. Weeks passed and Ananda approached Buddha under the starlit sky, seeking clarity. "Master, how does silence uncover truth?" Buddha's smile reflected starlight as he answered, "In silence, we hear the voice of the unspoken, the depth beneath shallow surfaces." Buddha guided them further, inviting his disciples to meditate on their own inner stillness. They learned to listen to the silent gaps between breaths and thoughts. Buddha told them, "Peace is not absence of sound. It is the harmony woven into stillness and awareness." Disciples embraced meditation, merging silence with presence, discovering their connection to truth's deeper vibrations. Buddha's teachings took root in their hearts, transforming mundane conversations into sacred dialogues. Under the moon's soft glow, Buddha's voice reminded them, "Listen with your heart, not merely your ears." One morning, as dawn painted the horizon, Buddha pointed to a flock of birds soaring silently across the sky. They do not speak, yet their flight tells stories of freedom, unity, and purpose, Buddha explained patiently. His disciples observed nature with newfound reverence, understanding the language of silence flowing around them. They realized that peaceful communication blooms from embracing unity within diversity. Silence within sound. The disciples practiced communication without words, exchanging understanding through their actions and expressions. Buddha encouraged, "Share your compassion through silence and transform dialogue into mutual healing." Observing the disciples, Buddha smiled, knowing his teachings were growing into the fabric of their existence. Through silence, we can reflect another's truth without distortion. Buddha spoke as the sun poured light onto the grove. Over time, disciples transformed their daily interactions, now enriched with the harmony of peaceful communication. They marveled at the profound depth of truths revealed beyond spoken language. Buddha noticed their growth and shared, "Let silence bridge gaps where words cannot reach. Let it reflect shared humanity." When conflicts arose, they approached Buddha, seeking wisdom to navigate discord. Buddha demonstrated, inviting two disciples to stand before him, asking them to simply gaze into each other's eyes. Minutes of silence passed before Buddha spoke again. "In their eyes, you witnessed shared struggles and shared dreams." The disciples bowed, understanding the lesson. Silence creates space for empathy, planting seeds of mutual respect and understanding. Buddha guided each of them to recognize their shared essence, beyond individual egos. Through meditative silence, disciples learned that peaceful communication softens the heart, allowing clarity and kindness to flourish. Buddha encouraged their continued meditation, assuring them each moment spent in silence enriched their connection to truth. As seasons changed, the grove became a sanctuary for contemplation, blossoming with inner peace and mindful interactions. Buddha's teachings echoed in every leaf, every bird, every disciple's heart. Buddha's presence illuminated the grove, reminding the disciples, in peaceful silence, truth is never absent, it is patiently waiting for discovery. They carried the wisdom into their lives, transforming their relationships, their inner dialogues, and their approach to conflict. Buddha's voice remained steadfast. True communication nurtures understanding beyond words. Silence becomes a vessel for boundless compassion. The disciples practiced the art of peaceful communication throughout the years, their hearts guided by Buddha's teachings. They shared his wisdom with communities, bringing tranquility to the restless and solace to the suffering. Buddha reminded them, every step in the journey of peace begins with a moment of listening. Listening beyond sound, and so, his disciples became bearers of harmony, bridging silence and sound as pathways to truth. Another day, another gentle sunrise bathed the city of Sravasti in golden light. Buddha walked among villagers, observing their silent struggles. His disciples followed closely, their hearts yearning to understand the deeper truths of his teachings. The needy gathered around Buddha, drawn by his radiance and the tranquility his presence carried. Among them was a grieving mother, clutching her child, tears streaming down her face. She knelt before Buddha, her voice trembling. "Master, my sorrow consumes me. How can I escape this pain?" Buddha's gaze softened as he knelt beside her. Pain is universal, but compassion is the thread that binds us together. The disciples listened intently, seeking to grasp the connection between compassion and peaceful communication. Buddha continued, in every heart resides the capacity to transform suffering into understanding, to weave kindness into our interactions. Sariputta, wise yet inquisitive, asked, "Master, how can one nurture compassion within themselves?" Buddha turned to Sariputta, his words measured, by embracing another's pain as your own, you unlock the power to communicate beyond mere words. The grieving mother's tears began to ebb, replaced by a glimmer of hope as Buddha spoke further. Compassion dissolves barriers, allowing the suffering soul to feel heard, understood, and comforted. Buddha invited the disciples to serve the villagers, urging them to listen to their woes without interruption or judgment. He reminded them, listening is not merely waiting to speak, it is opening one's heart to another's truth. The disciples practiced, kneeling beside villagers, hearing their sorrows and embracing their emotions as their own. Gradually, their interactions transformed, radiating warmth and understanding to those in need. Weeks later, Buddha gathered his disciples beneath a banyan tree, its shade offering solace from the midday sun. He addressed them, his voice steady. Compassion is not an act but a state of being that infuses every word, thought, and gesture. Ananda reflected on Buddha's words, questioning his own ability to embody compassion in all circumstances. Buddha sensed Ananda's hesitation and said, "Compassion flows effortlessly when we surrender the need to prove ourselves and simply connect." Buddha shared a story of a traveler lost in the wilderness, guided to safety by the kindness of strangers. In the traveler's heart, gratitude blossomed and fueled his desire to help others as he was once helped, Buddha explained. His disciples recognized that compassion is contagious, spreading like ripples across the surface of a serene lake. Buddha guided them to meditate on their shared humanity, anchoring their hearts in compassion. One afternoon, a merchant arrived, seeking Buddha's wisdom on resolving disputes within his business. Buddha welcomed the merchant and said, "Resolve begins with compassion, for it bridges the divide between conflict and understanding." The disciples observed as Buddha listened attentively to the merchant's concerns, validating his emotions and gently offering solutions. Through Buddha's example, They learned that peaceful communication heals divisions when rooted in compassion. Over time, villagers sought refuge in Buddha's presence. Drawn by the harmony he cultivated through compassionate communication, Buddha reminded his disciples, "Let compassion permeate your words," shaping them into instruments of healing rather than weapons of contention. His teachings grew within them, transforming their lives and the lives of those they encountered. Buddha smiled, knowing his disciples had begun embodying his lessons beyond the confines of structured meditation. As seasons changed, Buddha continued to guide his disciples through compassionate acts and mindful conversations. He often said, "Compassion reveals the oneness within the diversity of humanity, creating threads of connection where division once existed." Disciples practiced meditating on the pain of others, allowing empathy to deepen their understanding of human struggles. Villagers noticed their presence brought comfort, even in silence. As compassion radiated from their every interaction, Buddha encouraged his disciples to reflect on their journeys and the transformations they experienced through compassion. He told them, "Every heart touched by your kindness carries forward the wisdom of peaceful communication." His disciples marveled at the ripples of change extending through communities, healing broken spirits and nurturing harmony. Buddha's voice resonated. Compassion allows us to see beyond the illusion of separation, embracing all as one. Years passed, yet Buddha's teachings on compassion remained etched in the lives of his disciples and the villagers they served. Buddha often said, "In the light of compassion, suffering loses its hold, giving way to mutual understanding and shared peace." His disciples became messengers of harmony, weaving compassion into every interaction, every gesture, and every moment of silence. Buddha's wisdom echoed through generations, shaping hearts and minds with the enduring art of peaceful communication. Another day, another journey brought Buddha and his disciples to a small village near Varanasi. The air was tense. Two farmers stood amidst a crowd, their voices raised in a heated dispute over land boundaries. Buddha watched quietly, his presence calm and grounding. As the villagers turned to him for guidance, he stepped forward, his expression serene, and gestured for the farmers to approach him. "Brothers, the soil beneath your feet supports you both equally," Buddha said, his voice steady and kind. One farmer, his face flushed with anger, replied, "But master, his actions threaten my livelihood." The other farmer interjected, "He shows no respect for our agreement. How can harmony exist without fairness?" Buddha nodded, acknowledging their emotions without judgment, and then gestured for silence. He knelt down, scooping a handful of soil, letting it fall gently between his fingers. "Does the soil choose sides?" he asked. The farmers hesitated, their anger momentarily subdued by the simplicity of his question. Buddha continued, "The soil nurtures all life without bias. In its neutrality, it teaches us the path of harmony." The disciples observed intently, their hearts open to the lesson unfolding before them. One disciple, eager to understand, asked, "Master, how can harmony exist when conflict arises from deeply personal stakes?" Buddha turned to him, his gaze compassionate. "Harmony does not erase differences. It weaves them into a greater understanding through respect and empathy." He invited the farmers to sit before him, instructing them to share their perspectives without interruption or hostility. Minutes passed as each farmer spoke, their voices softening as they expressed their fears and concerns. Buddha listened attentively, his presence encouraging honesty and openness. When they finished, he said, "You have both revealed your truth. Now let us seek the common ground that unites you." The farmers exchanged hesitant glances, their hearts slowly opening to the possibility of reconciliation. Buddha guided them to consider their shared humanity and mutual reliance on the land they disputed. He said, just as the river flows around stones, we must navigate conflict with understanding and flexibility. The farmers, inspired by his words, began to explore solutions that honored both their needs. They discovered compromises that balanced fairness with cooperation, restoring peace between them. The disciples watched in awe as the once divided farmers left the gathering as allies rather than adversaries. Buddha addressed his disciples, saying, harmony is not the absence of conflict but the skill to transform it into mutual growth. Ananda, reflecting on the day's events, asked, Master, what sustains harmony in the face of inevitable disagreements? Buddha smiled, his voice as soothing as a river's flow. Compassion and respect sustain harmony, like sunlight and rain nurturing the growth of a seed. He encouraged his disciples to carry the lesson into their lives, to become bridges where divisions threaten to grow. Buddha often said, harmony is a practice, not a destination. It requires patience, humility, and the willingness to see beyond the self. The disciples meditated on his teachings, their hearts opening further to the art of bridging differences through understanding. As the sun dipped below the horizon, villagers approached Buddha, thanking him for restoring peace within their community. He reminded them, the seeds of harmony lie within each of you. Nurture them, and they will flourish. The disciples continued to practice his teachings, weaving respect and empathy into their interactions with others. Buddha's wisdom echoed within them, shaping their journey toward peaceful communication. Through years of practice, they witnessed the transformative power of harmony, mending broken relationships and fostering unity. Buddha's voice lingered in their hearts. Harmony is the thread that binds humanity together, creating beauty from the tapestry of our differences. The disciples carried his wisdom forward, becoming messengers of peace in a world yearning for understanding and connection. The grove grew silent, the air alive with the fragrance of blossoms, a gentle reminder of the teachings shared by the Buddha. The Buddha observed them, his serene gaze reflecting compassion and wisdom that carried the potential to transform their lives. Thank you for watching. Buddha's teachings are always with you. Subscribe to our channel and we will see you in the next video.